Welcome to the Crime Story channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling cases in American history. O.J. Simpson, a sports and film star, was accused of murdering his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her lover Ronald Goldman on a fateful night in June 1994. This case shocked the world, not only because of the gruesome details of the crimes but also because of the intense legal battles and the secrets that lay beneath. It's a case that the world could never forget, a legal war that lasted for months, and a verdict that left the public in shock. If you find this story intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime stories. Let's dive into the story. The story of O.J. Simpson is a tale that still captivates and divides America to this day. On June 12, 1994, the football legend and former TV star O.J. Simpson was thrust into the national spotlight when he was accused of brutally murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman. Their bodies were found in the luxurious Brentwood neighborhood, a chilling discovery that would forever change the lives of everyone involved. The crime scene seemed to have left an undeniable trail leading to Simpson, but the question on everyone's mind was, could a man who had been admired by millions truly be capable of such violence? What followed would become one of the most famous and controversial criminal trials in U.S. history, referred to as the trial of the century. The case captured the attention of the entire country, as people watched in shock and disbelief as the trial unfolded. Simpson's fate was in the hands of the court, and every detail, every piece of evidence, seemed to paint a clearer picture. Yet, questions remained. Was he really the killer, or was he the victim of a legal system that was too quick to make assumptions? The nation was on edge, with people torn between believing in his innocence or his guilt. This trial was not just about a man and the deaths of two people, it became a national conversation about race, justice, and the flaws in the American legal system. As the world watched, the lines between truth and fiction blurred, and the stage was set for what would become a defining moment in American history. O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown's marriage was far from a fairy tale. Beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life, a toxic and abusive relationship festered. Nicole, the mother of Simpson's children, had been subjected to years of physical and emotional abuse. Simpson's violent tendencies were no secret. He would often lash out at Nicole, leading to multiple police interventions. On New Year's Eve in 1989, police were called to their home after Simpson assaulted Nicole, but his celebrity status and connections allowed him to avoid severe punishment. Yet, this only marked the beginning of a troubled and volatile marriage that would spiral further out of control. As the years went on, Simpson's infidelity added fuel to the fire. Nicole lived in constant fear of his affairs and his temper. One of Nicole's friends later revealed that Simpson would often berate her, calling her too fat after her pregnancy, all while entertaining new lovers. Nicole's suspicions about his extramarital relationships grew, but whenever she confronted him, the result was the same brutal physical violence. Nicole's own diary entries documented the escalating abuse, revealing how her once loving husband became a man she feared. On June 12, 1994, the night Nicole and Ronald Goldman were brutally murdered, the tension that had built up over years of abuse erupted in a tragic and fatal conclusion. The discovery of their bodies sent shockwaves through the country, with investigators quickly uncovering evidence that pointed directly to Simpson. Bloody footprints, a strand of hair, and a matching glove found near the crime scene all suggested that Simpson's violent past was the key to unlocking this chilling mystery. The horrifying details of Nicole's last night would forever change the lives of everyone involved and set the stage for what would become one of the most infamous trials in U.S. history. As the investigation into the brutal murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman began, the Los Angeles Police Department was quick to uncover troubling evidence that pointed to one man, O.J. Simpson. The crime scene was eerily telling, with bloody footprints leading from the bodies to the surrounding areas. Among the critical pieces of evidence was a knit hat found near Nicole's body, a hat that would later be linked to Simpson through the hair found on it. Additionally, the investigators investigators discovered bloodstains leading to Simpson's home and on his Bronco, a detail that seemed to tie him directly to the crime scene. But despite the mounting evidence, Simpson maintained his innocence. The cut on his finger, which was found to match the blood at the crime scene, raised further suspicions, yet Simpson continued to deny any involvement. At this stage, the police were relentless in their pursuit of the truth. DNA samples taken from the crime scene, along with the blood found on Simpson's belongings, seemed to create an undeniable connection between him and the murders. As the pieces began to fall into place, it became clear that the case against Simpson was growing stronger with every passing hour. However, despite all the evidence, Simpson remained defiant, and the world was about to witness one of the most public and dramatic trials in history. As the trial of O.J. Simpson began in January 1995, the defense team quickly went on the offensive, employing a series of legal strategies to undermine the prosecution's case. One of their main arguments was that the evidence against Simpson had been mishandled by the police. They focused heavily on alleged racial bias within the Los Angeles Police Department, claiming that Detective Mark Foreman, a key figure in the investigation, had planted evidence to frame Simpson due to his personal prejudices. The most memorable moment in the trial came during the infamous glove incident. Simpson was asked to try on a pair of gloves found at the crime scene, which appeared to match the blood evidence. However, when Simpson struggled to put on the gloves, his defense team seized the moment, arguing that the gloves did not fit him, and therefore, he could not have committed the crime. The defense's argument was simple but effective: if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. In addition to the glove incident, Simpson's legal team challenged the handling of DNA evidence, suggesting that the samples had been contaminated or tampered with. This created a cloud of doubt around the forensic evidence that had once seemed to tie Simpson to the murders. With the defense pushing these technicalities, the trial quickly became more about procedural errors and racial tensions than the actual crime itself, leaving many to question whether justice could ever truly be served. The courtroom drama only intensified as the defense continued to dismantle the prosecution's case, making Simpson's fate increasingly uncertain. The trial of O.J. Simpson reached its dramatic climax on October 3, 1995, when the jury returned a verdict that shocked the world. After months of intense legal battles, media frenzy, and dramatic courtroom moments, Simpson was acquitted of all charges in the brutal murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her lover Ronald Goldman. The announcement of the not guilty verdict sent ripples through the courtroom and beyond, igniting heated debates across the nation. The media had covered the trial exhaustively, broadcasting every moment to millions of Americans. From the infamous glove incident to the racial tensions surrounding the case, the trial had become a spectacle. But the final verdict was nothing short of explosive. Many Americans, particularly white Americans, were stunned by the acquittal, believing that justice had not been served. On the other hand, many African Americans celebrated Simpson's freedom, seeing the verdict as a victory against systemic racism in the justice system. The verdict's impact was immediate and profound. The trial had divided the country along racial and ideological lines, with people on both sides of the argument firmly entrenched in their beliefs. The aftermath of the trial left a lasting impression on American society, raising questions about the fairness of the legal system, the role of the media, and the influence of celebrity in the courtroom. Simpson's acquittal did not end the debate, it only deepened it, ensuring that the case would remain in the public eye for years to come. After O.J. Simpson's controversial acquittal in 1995, his life took a sharp turn. While many saw his freedom as a victory, the aftermath of the trial would prove to be anything but peaceful for Simpson. The media spotlight, which had already been intense, remained focused on him, and the consequences of his actions began to take shape in unexpected ways. In 1997, Simpson faced a civil lawsuit that resulted in a court ruling requiring him to pay $33.5 million in damages to the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Despite being acquitted in the criminal trial, Simpson was found legally responsible for their deaths in the civil case. This ruling, combined with ongoing media scrutiny, led to financial struggles, and Simpson found himself in bankruptcy. As the years passed, Simpson's life continued to unravel. In 2007, he found himself once again in trouble with the law, this time facing charges related to a robbery in Las Vegas. In 2008, he was sentenced to 33 years in prison for charges including kidnapping, armed robbery, and assault with a deadly weapon. Simpson's story took yet another dramatic turn, but this time, there was no legal loophole to escape from. Simpson would spend the next 9 years behind bars, finally being released in 2017 after serving just over 8 years for the robbery charges. Despite his release, Simpson's legacy remained forever marked by the events of 1994, and he continues to live under the shadow of his past, with the American public never truly able to forget the notorious trial of the century that changed his life forever. In 2007, over a decade after the infamous trial that divided America, O.J. Simpson found himself in hot water once again. This time, however, it was not for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman but for an entirely different crime: armed robbery. Simpson, already living under a cloud of public scrutiny, was involved in a bizarre and dangerous robbery at a Las Vegas hotel and casino. Simpson, along with a group of accomplices, entered a hotel room where sports memorabilia, including items he claimed were his property, were being sold. The situation quickly escalated into an armed confrontation. Simpson, with a weapon in hand, confronted the sellers, demanding the return of items he believed were rightfully his. However, things spiraled out of control, and the robbery ended with Simpson facing serious charges, including armed robbery and kidnapping. In 2008, Simpson was sentenced to 33 years in prison for his involvement in the armed robbery. This marked a significant turn in his life, as he was now paying the price for his actions in a way that had nothing to do with the infamous 1994 murders. Unlike his previous trial, where legal loopholes and racial tensions played a role in his acquittal, Simpson was convicted on these charges with little room for defense. Simpson's time behind bars would stretch for nearly a decade. His incarceration was a far cry from the luxurious life he once lived, and it seemed that the former football star and actor was finally facing the consequences of his actions, albeit in a different way than many had hoped for. The robbery incident and subsequent prison sentence served as a stark reminder that the past can come back to haunt even those who believe they've escaped it. After serving 9 years in prison for the armed robbery in Las Vegas, O.J. Simpson's life took another unexpected turn. On October 1, 2017, Simpson was granted parole and released from prison, marking the end of his sentence for the robbery charges. Despite his notoriety and the shadow of his past crimes, Simpson was given a second chance at freedom. Simpson's release was met with mixed reactions. While some felt that he had paid his debt to society, many others believed that he should have served the full sentence. His time in prison had been a stark contrast to the life he had once known, and now, as a 70-year-old man, he was finally walking out of the prison gates. In his interview after the release, Simpson expressed relief but remained focused on moving forward, stating that he was eager to begin the next chapter of his life. For Simpson, this marked the end of one of the most publicized prison sentences in history. His release sparked debates across the country about the justice system and the fairness of his parole. Despite the polarizing nature of his past, Simpson was now free, and it seemed that he was determined to live a quiet life, away from the media frenzy that had followed him for decades. After his release, Simpson relocated to Las Vegas, where he reportedly reconnected with his children and sought to enjoy his newfound freedom. However, the legacy of his past, especially the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, would continue to haunt him. As Simpson moved forward, the question remained, could he ever truly escape the shadows of his past? After his release from prison in 2017, O.J. Simpson's life took a new direction. He settled in Las Vegas, where he tried to keep a low profile, focusing on his family and personal life. Yet, his past continued to shadow him, as rumors and speculations about his life swirled in the media. With the world still keenly interested in his every move, Simpson took to social media to address some of the long-standing rumors, most notably about his relationship with Kris Jenner and the question of whether he was Khloe Kardashian's biological father. Simpson's decision to join Twitter in 2019 was a significant moment, as he quickly gained hundreds of thousands of followers. His posts, often reflective and direct, gave the public a glimpse into his life post-prison. Simpson expressed his desire to move forward and focus on the good things in his life, distancing himself from the dark past that had defined much of his public image. He also emphasized the importance of family and his role as a father, often mentioning his children, especially his son Justin and daughter Sydney, who had carved their own paths in real estate. Despite his efforts to create a new chapter, Simpson remained a polarizing figure. The media still closely followed his every move, and some believed that his past crimes, especially the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, could never be fully erased from the public consciousness. For Simpson, the final years have been about finding peace, avoiding the spotlight, and living a life that he hopes will be free of the negativity that once consumed him. The O.J. Simpson case, often dubbed the trial of the century, continues to be one of the most talked about criminal cases in American history. Its cultural impact is undeniable, influencing everything from the justice system to the media landscape and shaping public opinion for decades. The trial captivated the nation, bringing issues of race, celebrity, and law enforcement to the forefront of public discourse. Simpson's acquittal shocked millions, leaving many questioning the fairness of the legal system and the role of media in influencing the outcome of high-profile cases. The case continues to divide opinions to this day. While some believe Simpson was unjustly acquitted, others view his conviction in the civil trial as a form of justice that couldn't be served in the criminal courts. Simpson's life after the trial, filled with further legal entanglements, only added layers to his already complex public persona. His time in prison, his parole, and his attempts to re-enter public life have kept him in the media spotlight, never fully escaping the shadow of his past. As Simpson continues his life in Las Vegas, there's little doubt that his story is far from over. The cultural conversation surrounding his trial and his subsequent years of legal battles is likely to continue for years to come. The O.J. Simpson case is not just about one man's guilt or innocence, it's a reflection of broader issues within society, the justice system, and the media's power to shape our perceptions of right and wrong. If you found this story chilling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Stay safe. Stay vigilant.